Years ago, February of '93, I watched a glowing object ascend vertically from the area south of Area 51, where S4 would be located, hang motionless in the air for about 10 minutes and then slowly start to descend. All of this while I thought I was watching a illumination flare that was launched from a mortar tube.
I can hear jets in the background. I'll zoom back a little bit. This is looking straight over Steve Medlin's ranch, right here off 375 Highway. This is right over the peaks.
Once it got down to the ridge line, however, it was in front of the hill that it had come up from behind. The hill was about 12.5 miles from my position. It came down to a few feet above the ground at the base of the hill, hovered momentarily, which is still consistent with what a flare might do in calm air. But then suddenly it shot off westward, covered 4.8 miles in 1 to 1.5 seconds, and stopped cold, also about 30 feet off the ground, hovered just long enough for me to get it focused in my binoculars for maybe 2 seconds, and then it vanished right in place.
We've seen video of craft that were luminous, that would move across the sky as if it was skipping a stone across water, or sort of a sewing machine effect. What we see across the screen are a series of lights, of dashes of light, as the object moves from point A to point B. And a rather strange warping occurs that's very difficult to unravel until you go frame by frame and you begin to see what is actually occurring. Therefore, we are seeing what you might call a shadow effect of the propulsion mechanism at work.
I've spoken to several people who've seen UFOs or disc-shaped craft out there. An attorney who lives here in town who has seen one. He saw one land outside the boundaries of Area 51. I've spoken to a very high-level managerial type who worked for a defense contractor out there for a number of years, from a very respectable, reputable family. His credentials are beyond question, but he doesn't want his name or face used, and he has seen them many times.
There were a variety of craft that were all essentially generically sort of canister-shaped. I guess you would say they were predominantly disc-shaped or rounded, like one of those Chinese lanterns or something or other. They appear to be colorful. At least they were multicolored in addition to the lights that seemed to be able to take on the light of the background. They could camouflage themselves somewhat in the sky by absorbing the blue light from the sky and clouds.
What are these lights in the sky, and are they indeed flying saucers? We asked US Navy physicist and UFO expert Dr. Bruce Maccabee to examine the footage.
Basically what you see are lighted objects doing things way off in the distance. You don't really see any structured craft. Some of the video material, a very small amount that I've seen, seems to show lights doing strange things like hovering and then moving suddenly to another location, maybe, and moving slowly and jumping around a little bit. I've concluded that they aren't ours. That means they belong to somebody else, and they're not made here on Earth, basically, so they must be coming from the outside. How they get here, who, in quotes, they belong to, I don't know. Extraterrestrials is a reasonable proposal. All the arguments that have been put forth that it couldn't be them in the galaxy or whatever because they can't get here from there, those arguments are not physically correct, because we could get there given enough time and money and desire to do it. However, it's clear that these other intelligences, whatever they are far beyond us in terms of technology.
Coming back, just doing a loop.
Now what I'm going to show you is a computer-enhanced version of what you just saw, and we're just going to look at the one portion where the UFO was appearing in the left-hand corner, going to the right, and then coming back again. That's all we're going to see. We're going to see it repeated over and over again. This part of the frame has been chopped out of the full frame. So I'll just let it run, and it goes back and forth, repeating. And if we stop it, and here's the shadow, and here's the UFO. So basically we have a triangle with one side and two angles that we know. The net result is I can calculate the UFO position in three-dimensional space.
Right.
Turns out to be about 7,000 feet away from the camera.
So having analysed it, what we seem to have here, Bruce, is a genuine UFO.
Yes, there is an object out there 7,000 feet away. It wasn't one of ours. It's about 30 feet in size. A genuine UFO.
The security at Area 51 is formidable. The entire perimeter is surrounded by motion detectors and cameras. Armed guards patrol in jeeps, and helicopter gunships are deployed to warn off anyone who challenges the borders. We headed out deep into the desert over 80 miles outside Las Vegas. Traveling down the recently renamed extraterrestrial highway, we'd come to see America's most secret base for ourselves. The only approach to the base is a dusty 10-mile track called Groom Lake Road. Anyone approaching the border can clearly be seen for miles, and as we've been warned, our every move was being monitored by the security patrols and cameras on the hilltops. This is as far as you can come to go to the Groom Lake base. It actually says on these signs that use of deadly force is authorized. There are security patrols all over these hills. They've been watching us for the best part of the last hour. There are motion sensors, security cameras, and if I did walk over this line, I'd be immediately arrested, taken to the guardhouse and interrogated for anything up to a week. As soon as you step over the line, past this sign, you lose all rights. What's amazing to me, Glenn, is that the entrance here is so unassuming. They've got this rickety sign saying use of deadly force authorised, but you literally could, if you didn't know what you were doing, you just carry on straight into the base.
That's the idea. You don't encounter any people here. If you went into the guardhouse that's there about a quarter mile in, you'd be arrested immediately because you've already passed those signs. They don't want to answer any questions, so they don't put any people in vulnerable positions.
And as you come off the highway up there, the extraterrestrial highway, there's no sign saying Groom Lake. There's nothing, is there?
No, I put up a secret base sign up there occasionally. Secret base this way, but it doesn't stay up for very long.
And on foot or in car, this is as close as you can get to Groom Lake, isn't it?
This is physically as close as you can get. Unfortunately, you can't see anything from here at all.
How far are we actually away from the base?
We're about 13 miles northeast of the base right now.
Right. And if we continued up this road, if we drove into the base now past the signs, we'd be arrested.
If you drove beyond here 20 feet, you'd be intercepted.
As night fell and determined to see the secret facility, we headed for Tickaboo Peak, which overlooks the base 7,000 feet above the desert. At our base camp, I talked to Glenn Campbell, who founded the Area 51 Research Centre